You're in opening Thursday night of week one, a couple games, including an absolute thrilling contest in West Lafayette. What a great win for Penn State, Howard.
Yeah, it was up and down. I think that Penn State team really battled back. They struggled a little bit from an offensive standpoint, but found a way to pull out a victory at the end when they needed it. And this was a passing game that really showed up for Penn State late.
And they ran it just enough, which Purdue couldn't do at the end of the game, to keep their offense going. I thought Mike Yursich, offensive coordinator, second year in the system, did a really good job calling the plays and keeping them a little bit off balance with the run. Not that they ran through them, and not that they had a great running game, but when you throw it that much and you're that explosive, that was a good enough run game.
It's just the fact that they have it, the possibility of a threat, which is what Purdue lacked there. If they can run a little 4-minute drill and run down some clock, maybe they win that game. Penn State showed, hey, we're not here to run the ball 50 times a game, but if we need to run the ball on 3rd and 2, we could probably get it.
Let's show you how this one went down. Again, Penn State and Purdue opening with a conference game. The 12th time in the last 13 years that Penn State opened conference play on the road. You saw Purdue remembering Len Dawson, the Hall of Famer who passed away last year with some helmet stickers. Passed away last week, I should say. Late second quarter, Sean Clifford to Brenton Strange. And Purdue can't bring him down with 2 seconds left in the half. Strange crosses the goal line, and Penn State goes up 21-10 at the half, 67 yards there. Third quarter now, it's 21-10. This was the opening drive of the second half. King Doru into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Boilers pulled it within 21-17. Late third quarter, O'Connell going for it on 4th and 1, and Payne Durham dragging tacklers inside the 10. And one play later, it is O'Connell to Charlie Jones, who had himself, he didn't have a game, he had a career.
Career day.
12 receptions for 153 yards. He had 21 receptions all of last year at Iowa. He'd never had more than 3 catches at Buffalo or at Iowa. He had a dozen in this game. Now in the fourth, it's Keandre Lambert-Smith again. The tackling issues rear their ugly head for Purdue and Penn State. Back on top 28-24, and then a huge mistake here from Clifford, and Chris Jefferson makes him pay, Brock.
He certainly does. What a special feeling as a defensive back. You dream of a pick 6 all your life, and here you get to do it on national
DBs
TV.
Just dream of catching the ball. That's why you're DBs.
And he gets paid dirt, despite how much Howard hates it.
72 yards, and the Boilers back on top, 31-28. But you want to talk about bouncing back. That is what Clifford did, who had 4 TD passes. His 4th game with 4 or more in his career, tying Trace McSorley's school record. Mitchell Tinsley, 27 yards there for the outstanding transfer from Western Kentucky. Then it's Clifford one play later. They love their tight ends. Tyler Warren refusing to go down to the 10-yard line. And then it's Clifford to Kevon Lee for the touchdown. And Penn State pulls it out 35-31. 10th straight win over the Boilers, who haven't beaten them since 2004. Misery in West Lafayette, so close. Our post-game reaction starting with James Franklin chatting with Jenny Taft.
7 lead changes. Coach, the fight to finish. How do you describe this one on the road?
Yeah, gutsy win. Showed a lot of character. I'm really proud of our guys. Sean kept cramping up, and we had to get Drew in there, but just proud of our guys. Our defense made plays when they needed to. We got to make more plays, obviously, on offense, but overall, gutsy win. I'm super proud of our guys.
Take me through that last drive for Sean Clifford. We've been talking about his experience, and in that moment, it paid off. 6 of 7, 72 yards, touchdown. How impressive was it?
It was very impressive. We worked 2-minute all the time, and it showed up for us right there. It was a little all or nothing on offense. We either went 3 and out or went down the field. We got to be more consistent, but you can learn a lot in games like this, and I'd rather learn them with a win.
It was just one of those where you just got to have a one-play focus, trust the O-line, trust the receivers to make plays, and we got really good players. So just putting the ball in their hands and letting them do what they do. So just privileged to be on a team with such fantastic players.
What a gutsy performance by Sean Clifford. You think about, first of all, he went out with cramps earlier in the game. They brought in the freshman Drew Aller, actually played reasonably well in the short amount of time that we saw him, but then throwing a critical interception to give away the lead. And then the resilience he showed in that last drive was really something.
Resilience is the name of the game when you define the career of Sean Clifford. And my issue is this offensive line putting him in situations where he has to be tough, he has to be resilient. When he's your quarterback, he has a white jersey on away games and it's way too green, and it's been too green for too many years. This O-line has to get shored up, but Sean Clifford has proven if it doesn't, he's going to be there to fight.
There's a lot of pressure on him. I mean, how he goes, so goes the offense, and so goes the team. Second year in the Mike Yurcich system, looks like obviously he's made some improvement, but there's so much pressure on him. Again, we keep talking about the lack of run games and some of these teams. The lack of run game always puts more pressure on the quarterback, and Sean's an example of that.
Yeah, he's going to fight all the time. But I tell you, another group that did a great job of fighting. That's the secondary of Penn State. 10 passes defense down the stretch I thought was critical. Talking about playing tight man coverage, really weren't giving up a lot of things, a lot of contested balls that they were winning, and that was huge for them because they were making some plays.
That's why I don't want to panic just yet with Aiden O'Connell. Obviously, that was not a 72% performance, but that's the best defensive back unit he will face this entire year. There are not many defenses who can tell 4 or 5 DBs, hey, go man up, and we're just going to send everybody else. And that's what Manny Diaz loves to do. Again, not a great performance by Aiden O'Connell, but that's as tough as it gets.
Yeah, completing 50% of his passes. As you say, this is a guy who was in the top 4 in the country in completion percentage a year ago. But again, give a ton of credit to that Penn State defense, and what a challenge this was for Manny Diaz. I mean, his first time coordinating this defense, Jerry, and he goes against one of the most creative play callers in the country in Jeff Brom.
Yeah, and I thought he gave Jeff some issues. I mean, I thought he didn't surprise him, but he brought pressure when he thought it would hit. He stopped the run game at the end. Again, if Jeff Brom gets a first down, and as Jeff was going through his press conference, Jeff was taking it personal, like he actually was playing the game. I mean, he blamed himself, and he kept saying they loaded the box, they loaded the box. We had one-on-one situations on the flank. We didn't complete it. But Manny Diaz put Jeff Brom in a box at the end, making him throw the ball.
And they didn't help themselves, Purdue. 9 penalties for 93 yards. That's problematic. And yes, it's a good football team. There's no doubt about it. But you can't have those self-inflicted wounds at home. You can't do that. You have to play a much cleaner game, particularly when you have some of the issues when you're not able to run the football. You can't be stopping the clock with penalties and going backwards.
Missed tackles, the penalties, like you say, and then not being able to run the ball at the end.
Every single Penn State big play came after a Purdue penalty, or it came with a missed Purdue tackle.
And
That's an issue.
And it wasn't just Purdue. I mean, I think in that highlight package we just ran, every big play was a missed tackle by either team. So that's something that both teams are going to have to clean up.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, look, I understand Purdue is a pass first and pass second and pass third offense. But, man, if they could have, and Jeff Brom said it, if we just could have figured out a way to run out the clock. And i.e., if you can run the ball a little bit, but it's just not in their DNA, unfortunately.
Plus, they're outnumbered. I mean, a running team couldn't run into unblocked defenders. I mean, I think that's what he was saying, and he's got to find an answer to that. But he's been in this situation before, probably most of his coaching career, because he hasn't changed much philosophically.
Got to hurt for Purdue because you don't play Michigan, you don't play Ohio State. This is your toughest crossover game. They certainly have a team that's good enough to win the West. We'll see whether or not they're able to rebound after starting with a conference loss. New Mexico State and Minnesota. Former Gophers coach Jerry Kill had taken some verbal shots from afar at P.J. Fleck. Had been some question as to whether or not they would shake hands post-game. Well, they shook hands pre-game. Tanner Morgan reunited with his old offensive coordinator, Kirk Shiraka, and what do you know? The slant pattern off the RPO. Yeah, we've seen that a time or two, Broad.
It's feeling like 2019, baby.
Yes. Another huge piece they had back was Mo Ibrahim, first carry. Howard, this looks pretty good.
Really nice job of seeing the hole, being patient, the balance is one of the things that makes him a special back.
21 carries, 132 yards for Mo. His school record, 10th straight 100-yard rushing game. Gets the TD there, the 34th rushing TD of his career as he moved his way up that Minnesota list. They're up 7-0. More for Mo, spinning forward. Gets the first down. Really impressive to see him coming back, of course, from that Achilles injury a year ago in the opener. And then Mo again had 121 rushing yards in the first half. Finished with a $132, as we mentioned. Third quarter, on a 3rd and 12. Tanner Morgan can run a little bit too, Jerry.
Yeah, threaten the defense with the run. They've got you backed up in coverage. Take it up to the middle of the field there, Tanner.
Went 11 of 14 on 3rd down. Morgan also had 2 rushing touchdowns. The first time in his career he had done that. Put Minnesota on top 31-0. Defense was just fabulous. How about 91 total yards for New Mexico State? Here comes Thomas Rush, and nothing the Aggies can do about that, Brock.
Thomas Rush with the rush. Who was going to step up in the pass rush? It was Mr. Rush.
Look at you.
Wow, 4 rushes, right? 1 sentence.
Did right there. And then how about a little pass defense? Terrell Smith, the beautiful diving interception as the Gophers pitch the shutout, winning it by the final of 38-0. It's the 13th straight opponent they've held to 27 or fewer points, longest such streak since 1962 through 65. Their first home shutout since 2006. Lots to feel good about for PJ Fleck.
We talked about how fast we are, athletic we are, long we are, but I've told all of you this toughness piece that we talk about, and that's not a macho tough, just this macho man tough. That's not what tough is. And you know, can you be committed? Can you control your emotions? Can you challenge each other? Can you have confidence? Can you concentrate? And I thought I saw that tonight. I thought I saw a tough football team out there. Trey got a game ball, and Mo got a game ball. And the reason why is the same story with Mohammed. I mean, this guy, thanks to the doctors at Purdue, thanks to the medical team there, thanks to the medical team and doctors at Indiana, thanks to the doctors and medical team here at the University of Minnesota, he's alive. And not only is he alive, I don't have the stat sheet, he ran for a lot of yards and a touchdown tonight. And you never knew if you'd ever play again. That's what Row the Boat's all about. That's what Row the Boat's all about.
Well, those backs did go through some scary times last year for sure, Brock, and great to see both of them emerge on the other side, playing and flourishing. Ibrahim, really a great story. I mean, this guy was second in the nation in rushing a couple years ago. There was a lot of buzz around him going into last season, and then the injury in the opener. But, man, he looked fully back today. Really impressive.
The amount of NFL scouts who were at that opener a year ago versus Ohio State and saw him put up 150 yards in 3 quarters, whatever the heck it was, and for him to have that devastating injury, what better way to bounce back than tonight's performance? He is the complete running back, and he will be taken high in the draft for a reason. The balance of patience and violence. The zone scheme is about planting that foot, getting vertical, and you are not getting this man down easy. I promise you. Let's look at it again. Watch. Patient, patient, patient. Finds his spot, plants that foot, and good luck to you if you get in his way. And here's my favorite one right here. Patient, patient, get vertical. Look, there's room to go around this cornerback. He says, no, I want to go through you. If I'm number 11, I'm upset. I'm saying, man, you have the footwork. You could have got around me. Mo Hybrid says, no. I need to send a message. I'm going through you. Howard, you brought up how balanced he is, and not just the balance of speed and power, literal balance. The first person never gets him to the ground. I love it.
Low center of gravity, really is able to find the holes and explode.
Hard to believe he was hurt a year ago. I mean, seriously. To watch someone perform like that and to think that he had to overcome a major injury. But offensively, it was clean. Defensively, it was clean. 3 penalties, no turnovers. Impressive. Kind of what we saw at camp.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they controlled the ball, guys, for nearly 45 minutes in this game, 44-30 time of possession. We had wondered whether they might throw the ball a little bit more. They ended up throwing 23 passes. Pass game looked good. It seemed like Shiraka, Morgan clearly on the same page.
It seemed like they made a decision at halftime, which is smart, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You want to feel like you can secure the victory. And then if you want to mess with your scheme, you do it the second half. It seemed like they made a clear decision. Let's throw it a little bit more, not just off the RPO, but let's just call a pass and throw it.
And to be able to see that early in the game, I think it's significant. Really shows the confidence that the team has in him. And he was able to put it on film. Now you can go out and duplicate that next week.
Last year, with the lack of explosive plays offensively, they were forced to play keep away. They said, we have to play good defense, and we have to dominate the time of possession. Well, they've brought that to this year. New Mexico State ran 33 plays. So if you can continue to control the time of possession and add some explosive plays on top of that, you're dangerous.
That's pretty remarkable, right? They gave up just 6 first downs in this game, a 31-6 edge in first downs. They got Western Illinois coming up next, and then Colorado, a team, remember, they shut out last year. So Joe Rossi's defense back in midseason form give up less than 100 yards of total offense, which they also did against the Buffaloes a season ago. This is a team that was 3rd in the nation in total D last season.